And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
The Stars Are Right is another Cthulhu-themed game. Yes, there's many of them, but this is more of a puzzle-solving game than anything else. And it's really difficult to tell you what I mean by that other than explain it, but a quick overview of the theme. You're trying to summon these elder, great old ones into being by getting the stars into different correct positions. Okay, that's the theme of the game, but it's more all about how you lay things on the board than anything else. Let's look at it. The board is set up by putting out 25 tiles randomly. You place them here. This is the night sky. Each of the tiles is double-sided, and you can see that it has 3 stars on one side, 2 stars on the other here. This one has the sun on one side and the eclipse sun on the other. You can see on the corners of each side, it will show you what's on the other side, so you don't have to guess what is on the other side. At the beginning of your turn, you'll be taking a card from your hand and playing that card. You don't have to, but usually that's what you're going to do each turn. And these cards will have symbols up here in the corner. If you look, there's 3 different symbols in the game. This first symbol here is a flip. That means you can take any tile on the board and simply flip it over. This symbol here is a push. That means you can push a whole row or a column and then replace the tile that's been pushed off at the other end. And you can push and flip and combine the things. And then the third symbol is a switch symbol, which lets you take 2 tiles and simply switch where they are. Now, you have to do all these different symbols if you play the card. Sometimes the card will have multiple symbols. For example, see this one here has 3 switches. Now, the reason you're doing all this is because you're trying to summon different creatures, and to do so, you need to get different combinations on the board. The easiest creatures to summon are minions like this. They simply need to have these 4 symbols on the board anywhere. So this one needs a blank right there. It needs the asteroids right here. It needs the moon, got the moon over here. And it needs the eclipse sun, got that here. If I do that on my turn, I can place this character in front of me. Now, minions are so easy to get on the board that they give you no points, but they do give you a special power, like this one lets you have a hand limit of 6. So on your turn, you basically can play a card, manipulate the tiles, if possible, summon a creature, put that creature in front of you, discard up to 1 card from your hand, and draw back up to 5 cards, and continue on. Now, some of the creatures are going to be much harder. For example, you see the lesser servitor here. I need to have the sun next to asteroids. So for that to work, I would need to get the sun next to asteroids, and then have a single star next to 2 stars. There is a single star next to 2 stars, so I could summon him into play at this point in time. And then the greater servituzos are even harder. You can see it needs to have these 3 in this particular order. And then the great old ones are the most difficult to get into play. All these are, once they're into play, they're worth a certain amount of points, which are here. And they give you a special ability of themselves. You can see here at the bottom, whenever you play a flip card, when this guy's in play, you can change it into a double flip card. This guy lets you change a switch into a push. And so each person, and even more importantly, each of these creatures has a symbol here in the corner. And when you play a lesser servitor, he works for this great old one. So when I have him in play in front of me, and it shows the asteroids here, I can ignore the asteroids on this, because this is very difficult to do, and you can use up to 3 of these servitors to get a great old one into play. There's a few other rules as discarding servitors and such, and you can only ever have 6 cards in front of you, so you're trying to get those great old ones into play, because the first person who gets 10 points summoned in front of them is the winner. The Stars Are Right is a fun game for me, because I like the puzzle aspect. I like being able to move the tiles around to get them in the organization that you need, so that you can put out the things. The whole summoning creatures, I really don't feel it. Yes, I get the theme that the stars are there, but it's just mixing in tiles and moving them around. I've played games like this before, but this one is very well done, and even without the theme, would be a very enjoyable game. There are a few problems with it. One is that with 4 players, it can take a long time especially since some people will wait till their turn to look at their cards and say, okay, can I put this guy out? No. Can I put this guy out? No. I can't put any of my people. Now, how do I move it? And they can take a long time. But if you play with people who move quickly, the game is very fun. Once you get some people out on the board, it gives you special abilities, and things kind of snowball a little bit. And I'd say a game takes maybe 40 minutes at the most. It's really not a long game, although one person could drag it down into 2 hours, which would be too long for me. I give this one a thumbs up. The theme is okay. The colorful, funny artwork, negates this whole Cthulhu thing. It's more silly than anything else. But the gameplay will appeal to those people who like puzzles and moving things around to get the configuration that they need.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.